What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 228 of Hashtag AskGSM here today for April 11th, 2018. Hope you guys are doing well and recovering well from what a crazy WrestleMania week/weekend we've had over the last 7 to 10 days. It's been insane. A lot of great wrestling, a lot of great moments. We're going to be breaking it all down here today on Hashtag. If you want to send in a question to the show, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. You can find me on Facebook as well at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Leave a comment on the post I usually put up on Wednesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, you can drop a question on this very video in the comment section down below. I'll include it in next week's edition. So let's get started here. Don't want to waste any more time after watching God knows how many hours of wrestling between. So I watched Takeover, the Hall of Fame, which went fucking long. That was a long show. Didn't even watch the red carpet, it was still a long show. Watched the Hall of Fame, Takeover, WrestleMania, Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, NXT tonight, in addition to the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor show, which was also fucking long. Did not watch that live, obviously. Didn't even watch Takeover live. I watched that after the fact, but I did watch Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor on Monday, and I still have yet to finish the Impact versus Lucha Underground event from the WrestleCon event on Friday. So I still have yet to finish that. There's a lot of wrestling going on. I just cannot wait for it to be over. A lot of exciting stuff happening, like I said, but I am just ready for a solid break from wrestling come like tomorrow. Anyway, Captain Sunshine from YouTube. Is Percy Watson as the new 205 Live analyst the start of Drake Maverick's heel turn? You know what? It might as well be, because I have no idea why they added Percy to the booth. Now, I know Nigel McGuinness is apparently off 205 Live for the next 2 weeks or so. I'm not sure what happened. He was at Takeover. He was at Takeover. Not sure why he wasn't on 205 Live. They didn't say. They were very specific in mentioning he will be back in 2 weeks. So, that being said, Percy Watson, despite that, I know he's filling in for Nigel, but they did say he is a permanent part of the booth going forward. Why? What's the fucking point? Why do you need Percy Watson on commentary? Was anyone clamoring for Percy Watson on 205 Live commentary? He's not bad in NXT. He's completely useless, but he's not bad. I just don't see why 205 Live... I don't see why 205 Live also needs to have a 3-man booth. We already have that for NXT, we have it for Raw, we have it for SmackDown, we have it for every fucking show in WWE. Why 205 Live is my question, but nonetheless, their second question: how many Orton/Mahal how many Orton versus Mahal matches have there been, and why does WWE keep doing them? That's another question I would love to know the answer to as well. I don't know. They're not any good. I have yet to see a great Orton versus Jinder Mahal match. Now, their Money in the Bank match, I thought was pretty good. Probably way better in retrospect than the Backlash match, but still not, like, great. Didn't have me clamoring for a rematch. The Battleground match, the Punjabi Prison match, was fucking terrible. Any matches they've had on SmackDown have been completely abysmal. I don't know. I don't know why they keep on going back to this goddamn feud. I was hoping after Mahal won the belt, which should not have happened, but whatever, that in him pinning Rusev, it would mean the start of a Rusev-Mahal feud, or the Rusev going babyface. Nope, they don't give a shit about Rusev. They don't give a fuck. Just let the guy go. If he asks for his release, just let him go. If you're not going to use him properly, just let him fucking go. Who cares? At this point, it's so stupid. Anyway, yeah, they're doing the match again at Backlash, this time for the United States Championship. Ooh, who cares? I don't know why they keep going back to this feud, because their matches suck. No one cares about Mahal, and Orton as a babyface is fucking stagnant as shit. Rude would not have been that much better of a choice, but people care more about Rude than fucking Randy Orton at this point as a character. Like, come on. Anyway, their third question: I was hoping Bray Wyatt would have been transformed into another gimmick by Hardy's Lake of Reincarnation, but I can't deny how hilarious it is that a real story on Raw is, and I quote, a North Carolina lake drowning exorcism, or exorcise the demon witch from a Swamp Billy cult leader's body, and now he's nice to everybody. Also, the Jeff Hardy backstage segment, and the pan over to Finn and Seth after Matt and Bray had been all weird to Jeff, is one of the legit funniest things they've done in years. When's the last time a segment was intentionally that funny? Good question. Not many segments that WWE does that are intend to be funny are usually that funny. Though Festival of Friendship, the first half anyway, was intended to be funny. I thought that was great, and Festival of Friendship might be a rare case where they were going for comedy and got it because that was fucking hilarious. But yeah, beyond that, there's not many backstage segments they do that are like supposed to be funny where they're actually funny. But I agree, that was fucking great. But yeah, with the Bray Wyatt Lake of Reincarnation thing, I think a lot of people were expecting a different, attire, a different character, a new name maybe for Bray Wyatt. The character is damaged goods. It honestly is. After 4 years of being, let's face it, buried by the likes of John Cena and The Undertaker and Roman Reigns and this guy and that guy and just being a fucking loser, they needed something new for him to do. But at the very least, they turned to babyface, which is all anyone could ever ask for, because that's the path they should have taken with him at least 3 years ago, if not 2 years ago. And I think he turned babyface in that post-WrestleMania Raw, so I hope he doesn't get hurt again. But remember, he went babyface, the entire Wyatt family did, on that post-WrestleMania Raw, I think 2 years ago. And he got hurt, and he came back as a heel, which was fucking stupid. So I'm hoping that this sticks. He's not going to turn on Matt and begin another rehash of that feud, God forbid. But no, I like the combination of Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy, the Woken Wyatts, the Broken Hardys, whatever. I think it's great. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it. I would assume they will win the Raw Tag Team titles. God knows we don't need another Cesaro and Sheamus Raw Tag Team title run. And they're great. I like the Bar, but we've seen them in the title picture for, a year and a half now? And the Usos have constantly been in the title picture, I know, but the Usos, to me, feel more exciting as characters than the Bar do. So I would go with Matt and Bray as the new Raw Tag Team Champions at that Saudi Arabia show coming up, the Greatest Royal Rumble. Their next question: what kind of world do we live in where Stephanie McMahon has a better WrestleMania match than The New Day, the Usos, Shinsuke Nakamura, and AJ Styles? I'm not sure, but it is a crazy world indeed. You are right. I would absolutely agree. I think the best match in the entire show was that mixed tag team match. Now, you can disagree with me. We're all subject to our own opinion. The IC title match was great. The Charlotte-Asuka match was great. I thought the show peaked with that mixed tag team match in the fucking first hour, and it was all downhill from there. The rest of the show wasn't bad, but I just thought it was a good show. It was not a great show. I saw people saying, "Oh, it's the greatest WrestleMania I've ever seen," or I don't know. I thought last year was better, but that's just me. I don't know. I thought it was a good show. But to answer your question, that Stephanie's tag team match was great. And she wasn't obviously the sole reason behind it, but she did so well. She played her role remarkably well as the pest heel, trying to get away from the offense of Ronda Rousey. Triple H and Kurt holding up their own in their respective, parts of the matchup. I thought it was a really, really fun match. Maybe not the 5-star instant mat classic that, AJ and Nakamura probably should have been. But in terms of crowd reaction, getting people into it, pure entertainment, and doing the right thing, keeping people on their feet, that was it. That was the match. That was the match that stole the show, in my opinion. No match got the crowd on their feet more, entertained the audience more, and will get people talking more than that mixed tag team match. That was a coming out party for Ronda Rousey. Now, we already knew coming in that she might be a big star. We already kind of assumed that, obviously, based off how they were positioning her on the show. But we didn't really know how she would fare in the ring. Now, granted, it's a singles match. It's a tag team match, not a singles match. So we'll see how she does down the road when she wrestles again, at SummerSlam or whatever. Hopefully it's before then. I don't know if it will be. But anyway, she killed it. I thought in the time that she was in the ring with Stephanie, she fucking killed it. So she deserves all the credit in the world. But yeah, she had a better WrestleMania match. The New Day, Usos, Nakamura, Styles, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, anyone else in the card. Rollins, Miz, I thought they had a great match too, don't get me wrong, but I thought that, in my opinion, was the match that stole the show. And their last question here: has there been two more accurate chants than you deserve it after Johnny Gargano powerbombed Tommaso Ciampa at NXT TakeOver, and we are scumbags from the after WrestleMania crowd? Yeah, those are both pretty great. I love how, not only that crowd, but other recent crowds, like when someone gets the shit kicked out of him. I think Roman Reigns, the same thing happened to him a few weeks ago when he got brutalized by Brock Lesnar, and the crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." That was pretty hilarious. They've been doing that a little bit more recently than I have seen in the past, but that was pretty great. Then yeah, the "We Are Scumbags" thing, coming from the same post-WrestleMania crowd that 5 years ago was chanting, "We are awesome." So I'm glad we've done a whole, 180 here. And now they're chanting, "We are scumbags," admitting that they can be scumbags. But I will say this, though. I thought the post-WrestleMania crowd this year, specifically for Raw, was the best post-WrestleMania crowd that we have gotten probably ever at least in recent years. And that's not because I saw people saying, "Oh, they were tame this year." No, they didn't hijack the show because they didn't fucking need to. They shouldn't have, and they didn't. I thought they might hijack the show during the main event, the 6-man tag team match main event, or another match. They didn't. The crowd was very respectful all night, and they reacted to what they should have. They didn't, they were what you would expect from a normal crowd turned up to an 11. I thought it was a great crowd. Yeah, there were beach balls, but there really were not that many of them, and I think they were saved largely until after the show was over. I wish people like Seth Rollins and John Cena would not encourage them, because that means they'll be brought back in the future during good matches. Remember when we got beach balls during the Ambrose Rollins, Sheamus Cesaro tag team title match at SummerSlam? That was fucking annoying, because that was a great match. We did not get that this year during any great match in the show, from what I can recall. No, I know we got beach balls and people not giving a shit during the Brock and Roman match, but rightfully so. The match sucked. The main event was terrible. So the fact that people are chanting "We are awful" and trying to hijack the show, it made sense because the match was terrible. I saw people getting upset. Now the beach balls I could do away with. People were saying, "No, it's so disrespectful." The chant "We are awful," the chant that this is awful towards the performers in the match. Well, the match sucked. I don't know what else you expect them to do. The chants and whatever don't really bother me as much as the beach ball shit does. The waves sometimes, but again, only during a good match when they should be paying attention. That's when it bothers me. During a terrible match, then fucking let them have it. That it's a message to the company that they should not be booking shit that people don't want to see and stuff that just is not good. So it didn't really bother me this year. Anyway, Joe M from YouTube, his first question was, do you think Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa is in the top 10 feuds we've gotten in the past decade in terms of how well Johnny Gargano provoked love and sympathy from the fans, and more so how well Tommaso Ciampa was able to garner genuine heel heat from the fans? It has to be. It has to be. Very rarely do we get a feud where the babyface is beloved, genuinely beloved, and the heel is genuinely hated. How rare is that? Like, it's sad to say in wrestling in 2018, but more often than not, either both the face and the heel are loved, or it's the other way around, where the heel is loved and the babyface is hated. The story they were telling with these guys was fucking perfect. Not a single person in that arena on Saturday was cheering Tommaso Ciampa. That's how great that match was. The whole story they've been telling from the get-go, going back to the breakup, the little things they've done since the breakup, the tag team stuff, the stuff they were, the seeds planted when they were a tag team, and the Cruiserweight Classic match, everything about this program has been fucking outstanding. One of the best long-term storytelling, one of the best long-term pieces of storytelling I have seen in a long-ass time, if not ever. That was great. I don't know if it's over. I don't know if the feud will continue. I'm not sure. I would assume the feud is over. I cannot think of a better conclusion than what we got on Saturday night in the main event of all things, in a non-sanctioned match. But it was phenomenal. I thought the match was just absolutely outstanding. But yeah, I was also thinking about this last night where, you know that Sami Zayn Owens feud, and it's still kind of ongoing. They had a fucking match on Raw this week, for God's sakes. But I think a lot of people would agree with me that that was the best NXT feud until now. I think Sami and Owens, the feud, the story they were telling, the matches. I mean, the matches in NXT they were having were good. They were not great. We're not on the level of what we got at Battleground in 2016 from these guys. The matches that Johnny and Tommaso have had as a team, and now as individuals in singles competition, have been amazing. That was one of the best NXT matches I've ever seen on Saturday between Johnny and Tommaso Ciampa. So I would agree. It's not only the best, one of the best feuds in the last decade from this company, but not even top 10. I would put it in top 5. Name me some decades going back a long time. I don't know if it's better than like Shawn and Jericho, but that match was amazing. That match between Johnny Wrestling and Tommaso Ciampa was fucking amazing on Friday. One of the best matches I have ever seen from this company in the last decade. So top 5 might be pushing it, definitely top 10, but like I had said, the best NXT feud I think I've ever seen. His second question, couldn't help but laugh my ass off purely out of shock after Mauro Ranallo said, "What a sadistic son of a bitch," after Tommaso Ciampa raked Johnny Gargano's eyes. How did you react to his comment? I must have missed that. I did not hear that. I'm not denying that it happened. I just didn't hear it. Mauro does tend to overreact. I know people don't like Mauro Ranallo. The WWE YouTube page just posted a video of his reactions during Takeover, like a video. I mean, you could hear the reactions on commentary, obviously, but him going crazy during the ladder match, during the main event, during the NXT title match, pretty much every match on the card. A lot of people, I'm surprised how many people do not like Mauro's commentary and the fact that he's over the top. You know what? I'll fucking take it. The commentary on the main roster sometimes, most of the time, let's be honest, is abysmal. They don't go, oh my. Who fucking cares, dude? You could tell how ingenuine and how fake Michael Cole is on commentary. It just sounds like he doesn't give a shit. I'm not saying he doesn't like wrestling or is a bad commentator. Michael Cole can be good when he wants to be. But usually his reactions are like, oh, I saw that coming. Like, it makes it feel scripted to me. And I know it is, but don't take me out of the moment. Like, I don't know, the reactions to some of the stuff that happens in the main roster is fucking terrible from the commentators. Usually more often than not. It feels so staged. Like they were practicing what they were going to say before it happened. Mauro, in the moment, feels excited. You can sense, you can feel his passion, and it feels like it's a spur-of-the-moment reaction. And that's why I love his commentary. In addition to the fact he knows what he's fucking talking about, and he's also really, 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 really good. So some people, oh, I had to turn off the commentary. It's just too obnoxious for me. I mean, to each their own. But if you're the same people that complain about the main roster commentary, then shut the fuck up. Oh, Michael Cole's so dull, but I'm going to complain about Mauro for being over the top and actually caring about the product. Like, fuck you. But, yeah, I mean, that was a little much when he said, oh, what a sadistic son of a bitch, reacting to an eye rake of all things. But probably not as ridiculous as the Taker John Cena thing. Oh my God, one of the greatest moments I've ever seen in WrestleMania history. What? Like, that's what like, I like Corey Graves. But you know that line was fed to him. Like, oh, one of the greatest moments I've ever seen after Taker and Cena. Like, really, dude? Really? What was another one? Styles and Nakamura. I know RJ and I were texting about this, but they were talking about, like, after the match ended. Oh, that's it. The match. The 10-star match. We were all expecting it to be. Like, the match was pretty good. If not great, but it was not the match a lot of people thought it would be. Let's be honest, it was underwhelming. It was pretty disappointing. It was a great match, but it was not the match that we were hoping for from AJ Nakamura. But the fact they played it off as like the greatest match of the fucking 20th century bothered me. It wasn't even the best match in the entire fucking show. So I would agree that it was ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as some of the calls I heard on WrestleMania Sunday from the main roster crew. His next question is, Buddy Murphy seemingly turning heel a bad idea. He was doing really well as a babyface so far, and his heel run with Alexa Bliss and Wesley Blake did not turn out well at all. Well, I mean, they obviously need heels on 205 Live. Alexander as a babyface. He's the champion. We have Mustafa Ali waiting in the wings for another title shot. He's a babyface. For heels, they really do not have anyone. Like, they have two babyface tag teams feeding right now. That's how few heels they have. Between Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, the Lucha House Party, they're all babyfaces. They have Mark Andrews as a babyface. Like, the babyface side is way too stacked. Buddy Murphy, I agree he was doing well as a babyface, but they need heels. Tony Nese, I think, is a babyface now, too. Who's the only heel on that show they have? Drew Gulak? Is that it? Arya Daivari, who gives a fuck? TJP, who gives a shit? I'm sure they have other ones. The Brian Kendrick, Jack Gallagher, who cares? These people have been beat like drums. I don't give a shit anymore. Drew Gulak is the only one with any sense of credibility, so Buddy Murphy had to go heel. If it wasn't going to be a one-and-done type situation where he got his title shot and that was it, if it's going to be a full-fledged feud, he needed to go heel. That's the only way people are going to care. What I'm more glad about, like you said, his first heel run with Alexa and Wesley Blake did not turn out well because they were booked like shit. They had no charisma. They had no opportunities to break out, any real reason for us to give a shit about those people, and Alexa Bliss overshadowed them at every single turn. But they were never also really allowed to have that one great match that we know Buddy Murphy is capable of. Like I talked about last week, that Buddy Murphy-Kalisto match was fucking awesome. It was a great match. Where was that Buddy Murphy in NXT? I don't care if he's face, heel, tweener, doesn't really matter to me. As long as he's allowed to do what he's been doing in the ring for the last few months, that's all I give a shit about. That's really what's going to make him a star, is his in-ring ability. Now, we should be given reasons to care about him, too. But the fact of the matter is, with so many baby faces on 205 Live right now, and so few credible heels, they needed to turn him heel. That's just, it's a fact. It's a fact. They just have no real heels that I give a shit about, except for maybe Drew Gulak. Everyone else, who cares? Unless they brought back Neville, which you know wasn't going to happen. I was kind of hoping for it after someone mentioned to me on Twitter last night. Obviously didn't happen, but that's the only way this feud is going to work. If they have Buddy as a babyface and Alexander as a babyface, it just won't work. I mean, I know it kind of worked for Mustafa and Cedric, but Mustafa is much better off as a character than Buddy is, so they needed to turn Buddy Murphy heel. Their next question, are there any switches you feel need to and will happen next week in the Superstar Shakeup? So the whatever happened on SmackDown kind of fucked with what I thought was going to happen, but I still think it's going to happen. I think he needs to and he should. Orton should go to Raw. If only to get us away from the fucking tiresome Orton-Mahal feud. We need to move on. We need to move away from this feud that no one gives a shit about. No one fucking cares. So I would think that needs to happen. I know, they're facing each other at Backlash. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because remember Jericho and Kevin Owens? They had a match at the Payback pay-per-view. Kevin Owens was on SmackDown. Bray Wyatt was on SmackDown when they had their match. Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I don't think that the draft stuff goes into effect until after the next pay-per-view. From what I'm aware of. The Usos, same thing. They're going for the SmackDown Tag Team titles on next week's show, or not at next week's show, at the Greatest Royal Rumble event in a few weeks. Why would they move to Raw if they have that title shot? Like, we've seen everything from them on SmackDown. We've seen them face the New Day a million times. Them and Brazanga, we've seen them a million times. Them and Bludgeon Brothers, we're about to see at the next show. It's time to move on to these guys. They need to go to Raw. I think them with the Bar, them with Woken Matt and Woken Wyatt, and all these other tag teams and Raw needs help. Raw needs more tag teams. I know they just got the Authors of Pain in there and all this other stuff, but they need more star-studded tag teams. The Usos can do the trick. And in return, I would send Gallows and Anderson to SmackDown with Finn Balor. That's another move I would make. Randy Orton, I had said, goes to Raw. I'll talk all about my picks in an upcoming article. I think for Hidden Remote in the next couple of days, I have a whole list. I stayed up late on Monday because I love draft season. I love Superstar Shakeup season with all the moves they could possibly make. What's even more exciting is that I'll be there next week. So not only do I get to see everyone from Raw currently, I get to see everyone coming over from SmackDown too, which is pretty cool. So looking forward to that. But yeah, for the women also, I think Bayley's going to SmackDown. Asuka needs to go to SmackDown. She's beaten everyone on Raw. I know she didn't win the SmackDown Women's Championship, but there's still more stories to be told with her on SmackDown as opposed to Raw. I would keep Carmella, Charlotte, the iconic duo on SmackDown. I would move Becky to Raw. She needs a fucking reboot and a half. I could see Natalya moving too. I don't really care about Natalya, but I think Becky needs definitely a new fresh coat of paint on Monday nights because she has been floundering. She was in the fucking dark match last night. She needs the move. I could see her moving, maybe breaking up Absolution, Sonya, and Mandy. Enough with the fucking factions. We need to move on. Iconic Duo is the exception. Absolution needs to be broken up. Riot Squad, who gives a shit, should be broken up as well. No more of these 6-woman tag team matches, so I could see them being split up as well. Maybe Ruby Riot going to Raw and Sonya Deville going to SmackDown. Next couple questions come from Mark S. from Facebook. What were your favorite 3 matches from NXT TakeOver and WrestleMania? I'm assuming you're not talking about from each, just overall. Top 3 matches. Easily in the top 3, the ladder match from TakeOver and Gargano Ciampa. Those matches were absolutely outstanding. Now, for the third match, I would say Almas and Alistair, Almas and Black. It probably was a better match, but I'll include something for WrestleMania, the mixed tag team match. I already talked about it before. I thought IC title match, great. Asuka and Charlotte, great. But I thought the mixed tag team match stole the show. It really did. So I'm going to include that. That was definitely one of my favorite matches from Sunday. Gargano Ciampa and the ladder match. I thought were the my 3 top favorite matches from the weekend from WWE. Mark's second question. Which show is your favorite over WrestleMania weekend? NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania itself, Monday Night Raw, or SmackDown? Good question. WrestleMania, again, I thought it was good. I did not think it was great. I thought Mania 33 was better. Probably not as bad as 32. 34 was very polarizing. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, it was the best Mania in at least 3 or 4 years. I don't agree with that at all. Like, not whatsoever. A lot of mind-boggling finishes. Just a lot of underwhelming moments, too. AJ Nakamura, not what it should have been. The main event was terrible. Just the whole 3/4, maybe the second half of the show is pretty abysmal. The tag team title matches, no one gave a shit. The Raw women's title match was exactly what it needed to be. I didn't really care, to be honest with you. Cena and Taker was a cool moment. As a match, it was like 2 minutes long. So who cares, you know? I don't know. I just did not think WrestleMania was all that great. But it was not bad. It was a good show. Raw, I thought was excellent. A lot of people were saying, oh, too many surprises that don't make any sense. It's like, aren't you the same people that complain about getting the same people on every single fucking show? Oh, Raw needs new blood the very next week. Oh, there's too many surprises. What? What are you talking about? SmackDown I thought was good too, but it's very obvious that WWE favors Raw over SmackDown. Raw got Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, Bobby Lashley, the Authors of Pain, Ember Moon, and No Way Jose on Monday. SmackDown got the Iconic Duo. And I love the Iconic Duo, but that's it. They didn't get anyone. I know they got a great main event. They got Paige as GM. We got a new SmackDown Women's Champion. So SmackDown was a great show, I thought, on Tuesday. I just thought Raw was way better. I just thought Raw, it's very obvious they favor that as the, as the A show. And it has been for the last year. SmackDown has not been the same since last year's Superstar Shakeup. So hopefully this year's installment of the Shakeup can rectify that. But I think the show of the week, my favorite show has got to be TakeOver. It has to be. That was, I think, again, I've said this to multiple people, but that has got to have been the best TakeOver I've ever seen. Name me a better TakeOver than that one. I mean, I guess, again, it's all subjective, but every match was fucking excellent. All 5 matches were excellent. There was not even a good match in the show. They were all great. Even the women's match I thought was great. That was probably the tag team title match I would say was weakest. But even that was a great match. With the finish and Roddy going heel, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with any of the matches in that show. The main event was one of the best matches I've ever seen, and that ladder match was one of the best openers I've ever seen on a WWE show. You cannot go wrong with that show. I think that was the best takeover I have ever seen, and I've been to a lot of takeovers. I was at Philly, I was at Orlando, I was at the first 2 Brooklyn takeovers. I've been to a lot of takeovers, but that was the best takeover I have ever seen, hands down. Had to have been my favorite WWE show from over Mania weekend. His next question: What would be your opinion after what happened in the men's battle royal on Sunday on Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy forming a tag team and using the Freebird rule? Now, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Brother Nero and all that other stuff would be great. But I think they did what they did with Woken Matt and Bray on Monday's Raw, that backstage segment, was because they wanted to acknowledge, Jeff being back and Brother Nero, all that other stuff, before Jeff goes to SmackDown. I think Jeff is going out on his own. He's doing the singles thing, as he probably should. I mean, let's be honest. We've seen the Hardy Boys. Brother Nero, he can be a part of the act down the road. I think any time to push Jeff Hardy would be now. SmackDown needs the star power. And that was his show for a while there, from 08 to 09, from when he left from the company. He was the guy on SmackDown for a long time there, for about a year and a half. So I would put him back on SmackDown and let Bray and Matt Hardy do their thing as the Raw Tag Team Champions. With the roster so stacked, what do you think of a new weekly show on WWE Network pitting the stars of Raw against SmackDown for wrestlers who are not appearing in the main roster shows? The last thing we need is another show. As soon as you said another weekly show, I said no thanks. No matter what the concept is, the Mixed Match Challenge was good. It had its moments. It was entertaining overall. I'm glad it was a short-term thing because I cannot deal with another show. We already have way too much wrestling as it is from this company. I know more people want more wrestling, to each their own. That's okay. But for me personally, for another show for me to review, I don't even have time as it is right now to watch everything else. I don't watch like New Japan. I watch 205 Live and all that other stuff. I love NXT, but we do not need another show. What, to watch Mike Kanellis face Titus O'Neil? Who cares? So, no. Usually the people that are not making the shows are people that are not high enough of a priority to begin with. So, they had that back in the day with Superstars. That was a co-branded show. They didn't do interpromotional matches. They would do it for, main event, but by that point, the brand split didn't even matter, so who gave a shit? But, yeah, with, Superstars, they had, co-branded matches, and It's like, who cares? To watch what? Primo and Epico face Heath Slater and Rhino? Who gives a shit? Who cares? So I'm going to have to say big fat no to that idea. Next question. What trades would you like to see made in the tag team and women's divisions in the WWE draft, and which roster would you put Big Cass on? What's your obsession with Big Cass? We were talking about Big Cass last week, too. I don't give a shit about Big Cass. Talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was very surprised he did not show up at WrestleMania or in the post-WrestleMania Raw, but hey, I say that as a good thing, because I could not care less about the guy. He's going to be back. They're going to push him. But who cares? The guy's just not that good, at all. At one point, I would say I'll put Carmelo with him as his, manager. Carmelo's better than he is at this point. And I'm not even a big Carmelo fan. I think she's good. She's not great. But she's got much more upside than he does. She's the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Why would you pair her with Big Cass at this point? Why would you pair her with him at this point? They're not even together in real life anymore, so it wouldn't even make sense. But what other, roster changes would I make? I could see him going to SmackDown, by the way. I could see definitely Big Cass going to SmackDown. I think that's probably why he was not on Raw this week, because they're saving him for the shakeup, and they'll air some sort of promo. Oh, Big Cass is coming to SmackDown. It's probably what's going to happen. But other moves, more importantly, for the women's and tag teams, I already mentioned about Usos to Raw, Anderson Gallows with Balor to SmackDown. For the women, Becky's got to go to Raw. I could see Natalya moving. I don't really care much about her. I would rather see Ruby Riott or someone from the Riott Squad move to Raw. And then to SmackDown, I would say Bayley or Banks, but I feel they haven't even done the turn yet. I know they're having a match on Raw next week, but there's plenty more they need to accomplish with those women. And I think turning one of them heel, it looked like it was going to be Bayley this week. I'd rather prefer it to be Banks, but whatever. I think there's much more of a story that can be told with them going forward. So I would not move either of them just yet. Maybe if they had their match at WrestleMania, but they didn't. They were in the Battle Royal, and still yet one of them has to turn heel. So I would not move either one of them just yet. Maybe not until later on this year or next year, whatever. But I would move Asuka to SmackDown. I think Raw is good. They have Alexa Bliss. They have Nia Jax as the champion. They just got Ember Moon. They have plenty of other women they can use. Bayley, Banks. If they move over Becky, that's fine. I think Asuka needs to go to SmackDown. They need all the help they can get over there. And also, like I said, probably Sonya Deville or Mandy Rose. They need to break up Absolution. If Paige won't be with them anymore, then what's the point? Since Paige is the SmackDown GM anyway, it would kind of make sense maybe if she doesn't get both. But it would kind of make sense if she moved one of them over to SmackDown. Moved one of them over to SmackDown, and maybe Mandy or Sonya. I'm not sure which one she's closer with, but probably Sonya, because I could not see them putting Sonya on the same show as Ronda Rousey. So probably moving Sonya's for the best. Next question from Andre G from Facebook. What are your top 3 favorite Paige matches? You know what? It's really tough, to be honest with you. I know Paige is great. She's really good, but her run was so short. And to be honest with you, let's talk about her matches for a second. She was really only on the main roster for about 2 years. That's not long at all. So she debuted in 2014. I know she's officially retired on Monday, but let's go back for a second. She debuted 4 years ago on the post-WrestleMania Raw. The matches with AJ Lee, I think a lot of us expected to be great. They really weren't. I wouldn't call any of those encounters my favorite at all. They were good. Some of them were pretty good. They usually went 5 minutes. The company's view of the women's division by that point had not changed. Now, at least not until maybe 2015. Definitely by 2016, but not in 2014. AJ and Paige was just another Divas feud that the company just gave 5 minutes in every show, on every pay-per-view. So they weren't really allowed to have that great match I think a lot of us were expecting. So those matches were no good. Her matches with, Naomi, Alicia Fox, who cares? So she really didn't have any good matches on the main roster in 2014 I would call my favorite. The only match from 2014 I would call my favorite of Paige's, which is easily my favorite Paige match, is the one with Emma from Arrival. That's it. That match was outstanding. She had a few other good matches in NXT with Natalya, and another one with Emma where she initially won the NXT Women's Championship, so maybe those, but the one from Arrival is certainly my favorite Paige match ever. So anyway, moving forward, 2015, didn't really do anything in 2015. She had a bunch of matches with Nikki Bella that some of them were pretty good. I don't remember any of them being my favorite, but some of them were good. Then there was the whole PCB shit, and then she faced Charlotte at the end of the year. Again, matches I thought would be a lot better than they were, but they just weren't. They were good, and it was probably because Paige was like a heel, but she was a babyface, and Charlotte was supposed to be the face, but she was getting booed. It's probably why. Did nothing in 2016. And that was it. And then she got hurt, and then she came back late last year. Maybe the match with Sasha Banks on Raw. I thought that was a great match. It was I think it was her final singles match before she retired on TV anyway. But if I had to include two other matches of Paige's that I thought were my favorite, either the Sasha Banks match or the match that she had with Charlotte on Raw in June 2016. It was right before she got hurt. It was for the Raw Women's Championship. It was a good match. It was on Raw. I think it was right after Money in the Bank. That was pretty good. And also a fatal 4-way she had on Raw in late 2015. Again, a lot of these matches, you're probably like, well, I don't remember this at all. It's probably just because she didn't have a lot of great matches on the main roster because she really was not there for that long. But she had a 4-way with, who was it? I think Sasha? Pretty sure it was Sasha, Brie Bella, and maybe Becky Lynch. But I don't remember exactly who was in it, but it was good. It was a very good match that she won to earn the title shot against Charlotte. It was better than the Charlotte matches, I'll say that much. Andre's second question, are we ever going to see the Demon King Finn Balor return? Of course we will. Of course we will. The thing is a money-making machine, but they're just going to bust it out when it means something. I don't think it really would have made sense for them to bring it out at WrestleMania. Now, a Demon entrance at WrestleMania would have been amazing, but for what, an Intercontinental title match? Why? Like, the whole thing has been based around Miz, Rollins, and Balor, not Demon Balor. He's only used it, I think, 3 times on the main roster, if I'm not mistaken. He used it at SummerSlam 2016, SummerSlam 2017, and that match with AJ that was supposed to be with Wyatt at TLC last year. I think that's it in terms of matches that we've seen the Demon King Finn Balor. So it will be back. It just has to be the right feud. They have not been pushing him for a long time now. He's doing this whole Balor Club thing. He's got the LBGT colors on his gear. I mean, I guess they could do that with the Demon on the Demon thing too, but I think they're going to be pushing that merch for a little while. So I'm not sure if they're going to be having him become the Demon King anytime soon. But yeah, I appreciate them keeping it special, but it's like if you do it once or twice a year, then I think they should be doing it a little bit more often than that. Just because I think the thing's a money-making machine. Now, don't have him be the Demon all the time, obviously, but it's a lot of money left on the table if you're not doing the Demon King more often. His next question, since Shinsuke Nakamura turned heel, do you think he should bring in a group similar to his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling as a leader of Chaos or fly solo? You know, that's not a bad idea. I think that'd be pretty cool. Especially since Nakamura's mic skills leave a lot to be desired anyway. Bringing in a faction, I mentioned on Twitter that if Brock left, you can make him the next Paul Heyman guy. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, but I think Brock is only sticking around until the Greatest Royal Rumble event. I don't think he's here a long time. I mean, it would be weird for the company to say, oh, he re-signed, and then he's only here for a month. So I don't know what's going on there. We still have no facts in regards to Brock Lesnar and how long he's sticking around. I've heard multiple conflicting reports. But anyway, with Nakamura, it would be pretty cool. I've seen people say, and I think it was Jeremy, who we'll get to in a second. He didn't mention his question coming up, but he did, I think, mention on Twitter, if you put, like, Andrade and Almas with him. That would be actually kind of awesome. If you had Nakamura, Almas, and Zelina Vega as their mouthpiece, that would be kind of cool. I think they have history from New Japan. I think they faced over New Japan for, like, the IC title or something like that, for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. So that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. I think it'd be kind of cool, to be honest. I don't know who else you would put in that stable, though. That being said, Nakamura on his own, if we see more of Nakamura of what we saw on Tuesday, the guy's off to a strong start. Because so far, I thought the promo, even though it was a backstage segment, the promo he cut on Tuesday, and even the attack on AJ and Bryan, I thought was awesome. It was great. The guy came off like a natural heel. He looked like a sadistic son of a bitch, as Mauro Ranallo would say. So he's off to a strong start. I don't know if he needs the stable, but I do think he'll need some sort of a mouthpiece at some point, and maybe Zelina Vega is the answer if he gets paired up with Andrade. But Andrade could also very well be his own thing and go into the mid-card title picture, because I think he's a star enough on his own as well. Jeremy B. from Facebook, speaking of whom, his first question was, do you see SmackDown getting more call-ups next week for the shake-up? It's possible. I don't know just why they didn't do it on Tuesday. They got the Iconics. I think a lot of people were expecting, I know I was, Andrade Almas. And I guess they could do Andrade versus Black 3-2, whatever, the rematch at the next TakeOver. I think a 3-way with McIntyre and, if he's ready by then, and he should be, with McIntyre and Almas and Black would be very cool, to be honest with you. And then you could call it McIntyre, too, if you wanted to. I don't think we've ever seen a 3-way for the NXT title. I know we've had a 4-way at that one show. You know, the weird thing is that NXT, they do a lot of multi-man matches and multi-women matches for their women's title, now for the North American title and the tag titles. We've only had one 4-way for the NXT Championship, and I think that's it. I don't think we've had any other multi-man matches for the NXT Championship. Now, I could be mistaken, but as far as I'm aware of, I don't think we've ever had like a triple threat for the NXT title or another 4-way except for that Neville, Breeze, Zayn, Kid one. So, anyway, to go back to your question, Andrade should be on SmackDown. Maybe he gets called up next week. Again, I would have done it this Tuesday because the crowd reaction would be better. They're in fucking Providence, Rhode Island next week. I'm not sure if the reaction's going to be any better. We'll see. I could see that happening. I know Sanity, I know, was expected. That didn't happen. I thought Cassius Ohno may have been a dark horse. He's a good fit in NXT, but I could also see him getting called up because they have a lot like No Way Jose, nothing for him left to do in NXT if he's not going for the belts. But yeah, I could see any one of those people getting called up next week. I don't expect it to happen. I think this week would have been the week to do it. I don't know why they didn't get more star power similar to Raw, but it was still a good show nonetheless. And I think SmackDown, if they get enough star power from Raw, now I would move over Miz. I would move over, you know what? Move the entire IC title picture over to SmackDown. Hardy, Balor, Rollins, Miz. Why not? You know, move all those guys over to SmackDown because I think they'd all be great fits for the Blue brand. But Jeff Hardy is a big star. Like I said earlier, him moving to SmackDown makes sense. Balor also makes sense. Who else from SmackDown? Who else from Raw can go to SmackDown? Now, like I said, Anderson and Gallows. I'm trying to think of other people, but no one else comes to mind right now. I'm not sure. But hopefully SmackDown becomes a stronger show from the shakeup and not weaker like last year. Thoughts on Nakamura's heel turn is the second question. I already mentioned this, but no, I've liked it so far. Definitely did surprise me. Typical WWE to take one of the more over guys on the roster and then turn him heel. But you know what? It might be exactly what Nakamura needed, to be completely honest with you. It's been a roller coaster so far for Nakamura on the main roster. From coming in like a fucking ball of fire, being protected and being undefeated for a few months, losing to Jinder, doing nothing for a few months, losing to Jinder twice, should I mention, doing nothing for a few months, winning the Royal Rumble, disappearing from TV, coming back, the AJ Nakamura feud/match being kind of underwhelming, and now he's gone heel. So hopefully it reignites his character. I would certainly hope so, because so far he needs something coming off his various losses for the WWE Championship. He needs something to latch onto, to sink his teeth into, and this might be it. So I'm optimistic he'll make it work. You never know with this company. I feel like it might be a Ryback situation where you take someone so over and you turn them heel because they've lost so many times, and then no one cares about these people after a while because you take away everything that made them over in the first place. But we'll see. He looked more motivated when he went heel on Tuesday and on Sunday than he's done in the last year. So maybe it's the trigger that he needed. Like AJ going heel a few years ago, I thought was a kind of a weird move. May have been a dumb move at the time. AJ's so over, or why would you turn him heel? But you know what? It ended up being the best thing for him. AJ was a great heel for the year that he was a heel in WWE. And then he went back babyface, and he was even more over than he was the first time that he was a face. So it might be what Nakamura needed to really get over that hump on the main roster. At Thomas_B96, do you think Nakamura versus Styles was as good as it could have been? Like I said earlier, no, it was not. I thought it was a great match. I don't think it was not even one of the top 3 best matches on the show. I thought it was pretty good, if not a great match, but it was not the epic, instant classic I think a lot of us were expecting. So no, I think, but also too, the feud was kind of underwhelming. You have 2 baby faces. Maybe in turning Nakamura heel, it'll make that rematch even better. You have a better story. So I'm hoping the rematch or the 3-way at Backlash, if they do it with Bryan, which would be, don't even get me started, that would be amazing. But yeah, I think if they do that and they have Nakamura and Styles and whatever else at the next pay-per-view, it's going to be even better than the WrestleMania match after the story they've been telling and now that Nakamura's a heel. So no, it was not as good as it could have been, but I'm hopeful the rematches will be better. And they're allowed to go all out and have the match that we all know they're capable of. At RJ_Marceau, and also one quick thing, it's not like, oh, they don't have good chemistry. Like, people were saying that about AJ and Owens and whatever, and that feud was really not that good to begin with. But we know they have good chemistry, because their New Japan match was amazing. So it's not the fact they don't work well together, it's just they need to the time to have a great match, which they did at WrestleMania, but it just, I don't know, wasn't really allowed to go long enough to feel like an instant classic. And there really weren't any suspenseful near falls. Nakamura never really hit the Kinshasa, so never really felt like the title was truly in jeopardy. But we'll see. So I know they can have a great match, and hopefully we get that at one of the coming pay-per-views. Sorry, Mr. Marcel, your question was, what is WWE's obsession with moments? Braun wins the belts and relinquishes them the next day. Why not give him a legit partner? Again, we talked about this with WrestleMania 32. It's all about the WrestleMania moments. Like, who fucking cares? Like, stop shoving that down our throats. Yeah, people will remember Nicholas and the Raw Tag Team title thing. It made the entire division look like shit. I don't care what anyone says. It made the entire division look like shit, with Braun not even giving a crap about the belts, for not even going back for the belts. It's not like, oh, I'll vacate the belts and then, go back after them with a new partner. No, Braun's fucking done with the tag team division, apparently. So why should I give a shit about the tag team title division? I know they have the Authors of Pain up there now, and Woken, Matt, and Wyatt, and which is great, but it's like, what a fucking waste. They have so many great teams, they can't come up with something different to do with these guys. I don't know. I thought that was just really stupid. I thought that was really, really dumb. But it might be just because they needed something for Braun at WrestleMania. The whole scandal thing, they wanted to put him on standby just in case they needed him in the main event, which was ridiculous to begin with. You knew the main event was not going to be changed. So what a dumb line of thinking if that is true. Let's hold him on standby just in case we need him for Brock. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, there was never a doubt in anyone's mind the match was going to happen, so don't be stupid. But anyway, with Braun Strowman, it's like we need something for him to do, but we don't want to put him in the tag team division because he's probably going to go back to being a single star after this. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I just thought the bar looked like shit. The whole tag team division looked like shit. It was a dumb moment. Oh, WrestleMania moment. People went crazy for it, but I don't know. I just thought it was stupid, to be completely honest with you. Maybe because Braun's going to SmackDown? I could see that definitely happening. People were saying, oh, Braun's a lock on Raw. In what world is Braun a lock on Raw? If he's not going to be winning the world title anytime soon because, Brock has the belt and soon to be Roman, and we're probably not getting Roman and Braun again anytime soon, just move the guy to SmackDown. I don't see why not at this point. That might have been why they did it. But if he's not moving to SmackDown, what else do you do with the guy? Roman is busy. Samoa Joe is busy. Unless you move someone over from SmackDown to keep him busy, like a Baron Corbin. I don't know about that, but I don't know. Whatever to keep him busy, but the tag team title thing, I agree, was stupid, and they have an obsession with WrestleMania moments, and even though they make no sense. At Rycoats27, his question was, what match stole WrestleMania weekend? Like I said earlier, Ciampa Gargano, no doubt. The ladder match was great, too. The ladder match was fucking amazing. But I thought the best match I saw all weekend from a storytelling standpoint, feud standpoint, payoff standpoint, everything, crowd reaction, was Ciampa Gargano. Not a doubt in my mind. That was the best match I saw all weekend. And not even WWE, too. Like I said, I saw the Impact Lucha Underground show, which was good. Most of it, anyway. It was a good show. Even Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Very good show. Long. Too long, but a good show. Cody and Omega was great. Outstanding match, but it was not better than Ciampa Gargano. You cannot convince me otherwise. It was a great match, but Gargano Ciampa was definitely better. I have no doubt in my mind about that. At that which she said 86 on Twitter, I think it would be cool to have Kane turn Daniel Bryan into the next Masked Kane. What do you think about that? Cool, right? I'm kidding. LOL. My question is, I would love for Zayn to get a new contract as El Generico, and that could piss Kevin Owens off and have a feud between the two. What are your thoughts? I'm going to have to say no thanks to that one just because we've seen Owens and Zayn so many goddamn times. We need to have one on Raw and one on SmackDown. I think Owens should go back to Raw and keep Sami on SmackDown. He has a better shot of becoming world champion on SmackDown than he does on Raw. Sami Zayn, that is. Keep Owens on Raw, or put Owens on Raw. The El Generico thing, I think they should have done that. I mean, they both failed to win the Raw contract on Monday. It would be cool if they had showed up as Kevin Steen and El Generico. I doubt they would do it, but then again, they mentioned TNA on Monday's Raw, so nothing is out of the ordinary anymore. Nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to WWE and them mentioning other promotions. So yeah, when it comes to Owens and Generico, I'm going to say no to El Generico. They can do it maybe, but the feud thing, I'm going to have to say no, just because we've seen it before, we've done it before millions of times. It's time to move on. We got to move away from Kevin and Sami as a unit, as rivals. They got to be separated. So I would put Owens on Raw and Zayn on SmackDown. I don't know how you get there, but that's what I would do. At Vincent Elisar from Twitter, his question was, How do you think Authors of Pain will fare without Paul Ellering as their mouthpiece? Good question. They should do fine. They've been talking more recently, probably because WWE knew this was coming. I had read a while back that if they were to be called up, Paul Ellering would not be with them, just because, they travel a lot, the guy's old, probably doesn't want the travel schedule. That makes sense. I get that. I completely understand that. So I was not surprised that happened. I was kind of surprised he showed up to begin with. I thought they would just be called up on their own, but I'm glad they acknowledged the fact that they don't need him anymore on TV. So they should be fine. They're not promo guys anyway. If they are talking, they usually keep it short and sweet. So they don't really need to cut any promos. Their in-ring work does the talking for them. And Paul Ellering, though, I've seen some other people mention this, but I would put him in NXT and have him mention War Machine, or manage War Machine, or War Raiders, or whatever they're being called now. Why not? I think War Machine's fine on their own, too, but I would keep Paul Ellering around. I don't know what single star you would have him manage, but I think as a tag team, War Machine's a lot like the Authors of Pain, so putting Paul Ellering with them I think would be great. So that's what I would do with Paul, and I think Authors of Pain will be just fine on the main roster without him. He does definitely add to the act, but if he doesn't want to travel, I definitely understand. At Scarlet1 from Twitter, since WWE's been bringing back a lot of guys that used to be in TNA, should Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens go to TNA so they can eventually be rehired by WWE? That's actually really smart. That is honestly very, very smart. WWE picks up everyone from under the sun now. Everyone under the sun now from TNA. So why not? Sami and Kevin can, reignite the years and be resurrected and under the TNA banner, and then maybe that would be the ticket for them to come back to WWE. Look at Bobby Lashley. I don't know if they'd be in TNA for 5 years, but hopefully that would be their way of getting back in WWE. I kid, obviously. Best and worst of WrestleMania 34. There's so much to digest. I'm not going to break down the whole show. I'll be reviewing the whole show on Wrestle Rant Radio tomorrow, so if you want my full thoughts on the show, listen to that. But real quickly, like I said, I thought the best matches were the opener, the SmackDown Women's Title match, and the Mixed Tag Team match. And Nakamura and Styles I thought was great. It wasn't one of the better matches on the show. It was good. It was very good, if not great, but it was not one of my favorite matches on the show. Worst was the Raw Tag Team title thing. I don't care who you are. I thought that was beyond fucking stupid and a waste of time. Really stupid. So I thought that was easily among one of the worst things I saw in the entire show. The main event sucked. Everything else was kind of in the middle. There really wasn't anything else that was bad. Cena and Taker, whatever. It wasn't advertised in advance. I was not expecting a great match, even if they did go 20 minutes. And I'm scared now because Taker had a 2-minute match. It's like, oh, he looks great. And they put him in a casket match at the next Greatest Royal Rumble event. That's no joke. They just announced that today. He is facing Rusev in a casket match on that show. That sounds like it's going to be a fucking train wreck. So hopefully it's better than I think it will be. But I don't know. I know he looked great on Sunday, but physically, yes. In the ring, the guy had a fucking squash match. Of course he's going to look good. Anyway, I wouldn't put that among the worst, though. I would think just the Raw Tag Team title match, the main event sucked. That was really about it. There really wasn't anything else I thought was the worst at WrestleMania. Like, the SmackDown Tag title match was disappointing. It was not one of the worst things on the show. And there was a few matches like that. Nia Jackson and Alexa Bliss was what I thought it was going to be, so I can't say that was bad. But easily the best was opener, SmackDown Women's Title match, and the Mixed Tag Team match, which, again, like I said, I thought stole the show. Best match of NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Again, no doubt in my mind, Gargano-Ciampa. The ladder match is right behind it, but I thought Gargano-Ciampa was the match of the night. Matches best from worst to best in order. Probably the tag title match, which I never thought I would say, but it was. Moon and Baszler, Almas and Black, ladder match, and then the main event. Let's see. Final few questions here, also from Scarlet. Their question was, how do you feel about Shinsuke Nakamura's run on SmackDown so far? Like I said, it's been a roller coaster. It came in like a ball of fire, like a bat out of hell, with the huge, awesome debut. The Ziggler feud was kind of disappointing, and the matches really weren't that good. They were good, they weren't great. And then he was fine over the summer. Lost to Jinder again, which was stupid, but whatever. What else happened? And then he won the Rumble, and it's been a roller coaster. I think WWE knows he's a star, but they want to take him. They want to take the right approach with him. So maybe going heel, like I said earlier, is the right way to go with him. But so far on SmackDown, I have not lost hope just yet. Now, if he lost at WrestleMania and that was it, then I would lose hope, like, okay, they do not see him as a top star. Because otherwise, why would you have him lose clean and that's it? But they did turn him heel, so maybe Vince sees more in him as a heel and they want to keep the chase going. So I'm fine with Nakamura going heel, and we'll see where it goes. But so far, so good. But so far on SmackDown, it's been tumultuous, to say the least. Should Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia? Not only should he, but he will. I can, I will. Isn't that his whole saying? I can, I will. He will. He will beat Brock Lesnar. Should he beat Brock Lesnar? I mean, of course. Well, I mean, here's the thing. So, the whole Samoa Joe Roman Reigns thing, I think is happening no matter what. I thought Joe would challenge the winner of that match, but I think we're getting Joe and Roman no matter what. So Brock will not be at Backlash. I think Brock's last match will be at that greatest Royal Rumble event, which is weird, but whatever. They probably want Roman to get cheered over there as opposed to in the States where he was going to get booed at WrestleMania when he won the belt. And it was not an audible either. They didn't go, oh, Roman's not over, let's not put the belt on him. Are you fucking stupid? This company thinks everything through. They're not going to change the finish halfway through the match. What was that, a Dave Meltzer call? That's so stupid. I can't believe people believe that. Oh, they changed the finish of the match halfway through because Roman was not getting over. Are you kidding me? That's one of the dumbest things I think I've ever heard in my life. Obviously, they had to have known that Roman was not going to get cheered. And, you know, they knew that going in, and they were going to have Roman they're going to have Roman win the belt no matter what. WrestleMania 32. They knew he was going to get booed. They put the belt on him anyway, so what a dumb line of logic that is. Anyway, so if he doesn't win the championship, then who does? What, Bobby Lashley? At what show? SummerSlam? That we cannot go another 4 to 6 months with no world champion on Raw. I'm done. I'm ready to move on. I like Lesnar, but it's time to move on. I don't like Roman. I like Roman Reigns. I don't like the idea of him as champion exactly, but whatever. Over a guy like a Rollins or a Braun or whatever, but whatever. Whatever gets the belt off Brock and we get the world champion in Raw more often, and we get him on the pay-per-views more often, it is what it is, and that's what's going to happen. Final 2 questions from Sal at the Wrestle Guy on Twitter. Do you feel Lashley should get Roman or Brock at SummerSlam determined by the outcome of the greatest Royal Rumble ever? Or do you think they should go with Lashley versus Lesnar regardless if Lesnar is champ or not? Yeah, I think Roman is winning the belt, but you can still do Lashley and Lesnar as an attraction match. Now, I don't know if they will. They should. I'm hoping that's why they brought in Lashley as a babyface. He is better as a heel. Maybe because they thought he was going to be cheered, and he was on the post-WrestleMania Raw. But because Brock is so hated, and Lashley's a babyface, it would make sense to have Lashley beat him. It only makes sense to put over Lashley on the way out. It's a match I think the company knows it's a money match if they build up Lashley properly in the coming months. But that's a match they could do. I mean, I guess you could do it at like Money in the Bank or whatever, but I would save it for SummerSlam. But it doesn't need to be for the belt. And honestly, it should not be for the belt, just because I don't know if Lashley is ready for that yet. He just got back. I know he's been doing great work in TNA, but I wouldn't put the belt on him. I wouldn't put the belt on him from day one. And also, that would mean that Lesnar is champion for the next, 6 months. So, no. I'm going to have to say no for the title, but I want to see the match, though. Hopefully it's SummerSlam. So, but Lashley Reigns, you can't go wrong with that either. If you have Lashley win the greatest Royal Rumble ever, and he goes on to face Roman at SummerSlam, hey, that's not a bad match either. I would not complain about that either. But I think Lashley Lesnar is the match that you have to do, absolutely have to do, before Lesnar leaves again. And his last question, do you think that Cena being shocked, or do you think the Cena being shocked that Undertaker showed up at WrestleMania and due to that beating Cena so fast, was to plant the seeds for a rematch at WrestleMania 35, career versus career, or maybe even Taker one last title run, career versus 17th championship for John Cena? Oh, I hope not. I saw people saying that. I hope not. I really hope not. That match was exactly what it needed to be. Because Taker in 2018, he can't have a great match. He just can't. I mean, maybe we'll see the greatest Royal Rumble ever. Maybe he'll surprise me and have a 5-star Matt Classic with Rusev in a casket match. I doubt it. And the reason it is a casket match is probably because the company knows, well, first of all, it's a draw. And second of all, because the company knows that, that he can't work a full-fledged match. He cannot work a standard singles match. So he needs all the smoke and mirrors. But I don't want to see Cena Taker again. That feud was a waste of time. It did nothing for anyone involved. Not that it was really supposed to, but it was a waste. It was a cool moment to get Taker back, but if it wasn't the American Badass, then it's a waste of time. So no, I do not want another Taker-Cena match. The time to do that was last year. Taker should have beat AJ for the belt of the Rumble, and Cena, I don't know if he should have won the Rumble, but he could have won the Elimination Chamber, and then gone on to face Taker for the belt of Mania, beating him there, and becoming champion. And that's it, and Taker could have been done. No Roman and Taker shit, which was a fucking waste as well. Did almost nothing for Roman Reigns. So yeah, I think it could be planting the seeds for a rematch. I God fucking hope not. I didn't even want to see it the first time. Why would I want to see another match? Career versus career. We know Cena won't lose. Taker's obviously going to lose. We know Cena's going to win. It's like Rock and Cena all over again. I hope not. I really, really, really hope not. But that means they will, so I'm prepared for it, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, that does it for today's edition of #AskGSM episode 228, I believe, here today. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 228 of #here today. We will be back next Monday, or Wednesday, rather. Monday was the old day of the show. For another edition. If you want to send in questions for me to answer right here on the show, please do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. You can find me on Facebook as well at facebook.com/gram.gsm.matthews. Leave a question on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, be sure to drop your question in the comment section down below. I'll include it in next week's edition. So with all that being said, guys, let's have a solid break from wrestling, okay? For the next couple days at the very least. Before I go to Raw next week and we start all over again, and it's going to be crazy. Jason and I, in attendance for the Superstar Shakeup. I was at the SmackDown portion of the Shakeup last year in Boston, which was a lot of fun with Tommy Sharp. And I'll be back this year for the Raw portion, which is even better because I'll get to see Raw and SmackDown stars on the same show. So, should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Should be a blast. So, anyway, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.